Hey, welcome to Mainland Cycle Center's YouTube channel. Today we're going to take a little look at a 1983 Kawasaki 1100 Spectre, KZ1100 D2 I believe this model is called. And this bike is not for sale. This is actually one of my personal bikes, but it's a pretty nice old bike. It's I've done a little bit of restoration to it, but not a lot. And I'll kind of give you an idea of some of the stuff that I did to it. But these are an 1100cc inline 4. It's air cooled, carbureted of course. This was the 80s. But just a very unique looking bike with all of these black and gold on it. Really reminds me of like a early 80s Pontiac black and gold Trans Am a little bit. Kind of maybe the style of the time. But I got this bike a couple of years ago. A gentleman stopped by the dealership and he had it, and he wanted to sell it, and it had been sitting for about 10-11 years, but it was a pretty nice bike. It had a big windshield on it, typical of the 80s, but otherwise I liked it because it was mostly pretty original. I mean, it had all the original grips on it, the original factory grips, the original factory mirrors, the original seat, and it just, all the original turn signals are on it. Even has the raised white leather tires that are in very good condition. But it had been setting for a while. The gas tank was so rusted up I had to replace the entire gas tank. And I managed to find a tank on eBay that apparently a dealer had from the 80s that they had taken off of a new bike because it got a little bitty ding in it. So this one has a little ding right about there, but it's a real small ding. But apparently they had taken it off a new bike. It had been in their attic or whatever, and they went through it and put it on eBay. And I had to pay a fair amount of money for it. I think almost $600 I had to pay for the tank. But otherwise it was very nice. And but I had to buy a new gas cap, and that was available from Kawasaki. And I had to buy a new fuel petcock and a new fuel sending unit. All those things were just trash from setting for so long. They were extremely dirty and rusted up and so forth. And then other than that, the motor on these, you can kind of see this gold and black, and these were originally this color, and the motor was real faded. It was a real silver looking color, and so I pulled the motor out of the bike and repainted the motor. I found some paint that matched the original color. I could pull, like this cover, I could pull it off, flip it over, and see the original color. And so anyway, I wound up repainting that. I had to take the carburetors off. I had to do quite a bit of work to the carburetors to get it going. I replaced these boots, I replaced these intakes, I replaced the diaphragms inside, new gaskets and O-rings in them, and then I repainted them back the black when I put them back on and synced them. Anyway, it came out real nice. It runs real good. Put a new set of spark plugs in it, changed the oil and filter on it. I had to go through all of the brakes on it. The brake fluid was real funky after 10 years, and so I put Dot 5 silicone brake fluid in these. It doesn't eat the paint and so forth, and just clean the calipers up, pump the pistons out, clean them up, and replaced any seals that I needed to. But you know, other than that, I had to put a new battery in it, new air filter, that kind of stuff. And but a little bit of work in it. It's just really came out pretty nice. Has the gold wheels. This has air shocks on the back, and some dampening adjustments there. One of the things that I thought was pretty cool on this bike that you don't see too often is it does have a center stand, which is getting pretty rare nowadays, but there's a little lock right here that actually lets you lock the center stand down. So I guess it's a bit of an anti-theft thing. It must not catch on. We don't do it nowadays anymore, but it had a little deal so you can lock the center stand down. These were shaft drive. This is a really nice riding bike. I've ridden it a few hundred miles since I finished it, and you know, it's not perfect, but it's a pretty nice original bike. The seat is very nice. This is the original seat. The rear grab handle, the gold is faded right here. I probably should just take a little gold paint and try to camouflage that a little bit. The exhaust was pretty nice. There was a little bit of rust on the head pipes, and I tried to clean them up a little bit, and I used a little bit of black heat resistant paint to kind of camouflage some of that, but they're not perfect there now. And but the motor came out real nice. I'm really impressed with how well this is. The paint I used on this motor was like a duplicolor automotive touch-up paint that you would get from one of your auto parts stores, and I think AutoZone and O'Reilly's and everybody kind of carries that paint. I bought 3 or 4 different colors, cans, to get the color right, and but I had a fuel line on it just a few weeks ago that sprung a little leak and was leaking gas. I was really afraid it was going to eat the paint off the motor. It actually didn't, so I was pretty pleased that it held up to the fuel on there. It has these little black accordion boots on the shocks, dual disc front brakes, and there. I am still looking for a side cover. If you have one of these, or if you know somebody that has a side cover for this side, I'm looking for a side cover. Just the clear has kind of come off of this one a little bit, and so I'm looking for a right side cover, this black and gold for the 1100 Spectre. So if someone has one that's nice, shoot me a comment, shoot me an email, give me a call. I'd be a buyer for it. Alright. Pretty cool instrumentation. It's got not a whole lot, but it's got the speedometer, it's got fuel gauge, tachometer, and one of the cool things about the tachometer is that you can push this little button right here, and it's a voltmeter, so it reads the little voltage right in there, and that's kind of cool. But runs real good. The master cylinder I took off and painted. The paint was coming off of this, and I took the master cylinder. The writing was still pretty good on the top, so I took it down to my local sign shop. Anyway, he scanned it in and made me a little decal, and so I repainted the top cap, put some new screws in it, and put that decal on top. So that kind of kept that pretty original. And see if we can crank it up for you, if I can do this. Let's see. There we go. For some reason you got to pull the clutch in on it. I don't know if it's got a bad diode or what, but even in neutral it wants the clutch pulled in to run. Or to start, rather, not to run, but to start. But came out pretty good. Like I said, I've ridden it a little bit. It runs real nice, and definitely kind of a blast from the past. And I don't know, I dig the black and gold. I kind of think of it as being gloriously tacky. So, but and like I said, it's not perfect. You've got a little, there's a little scratch kind of right there on the fork. I didn't repaint any of this. This decal, I would love to get that new decal there. I probably need to clean this brake rotor up a little bit, but we'll get a venture around with that. But it gets a lot of attention, just like it is. A lot of guys see it and they're really kind of blown away by it. And but there you have it. That's our 83 KZ1100 Spectre. Most of the time we keep this bike on our showroom floor so people can look at it and hopefully admire it and enjoy it. But and occasionally you'll see it out on the road if you'd like to get it out and drive it. But anyway, I wanted to share it with you guys, and I hope you enjoy it. And if you have any questions, if you have a Spectre or anything, give me a call. I'd be happy to try to help if I can. Again, I'm looking for that side cover, and I'd love to have a real nice set of stock black exhaust pipes off one of these. If somebody has some of those squared away, I'd love to have some of those. But there you have it. That's an 83 Kawasaki KZ1100 Spectre. We are Mainland Cycle Center. We're located about 30 minutes south of downtown Houston, just off of I-45 in Lamarck, Texas. Our website is mainlandcyclecenter.com. Our phone number is 409-948-4969. Hey, give us a call, shoot us an email, come by and see us. We'd love to talk to you, love to help you any way we can. Thanks for watching.